Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Live with Colorado Beef. I'm Chef Jason for my friends at the Colorado Beef Council. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. You know, a really good thing happened today. It's ice cold outside, which is great because that is the perfect kickoff to chili season. That's right, it is fall in Colorado. Rumor has it we're gonna get some snow in the mountains. We may already be getting it. We're gonna get some rain down here in the city. Yeah, I might actually be getting rain right now too. But the beauty of fall here in Colorado is it is chili season. Now, we're kicking off chili season with a really good chili recipe for you. And what I love about this recipe from our friends at beefitswhatsfordinner.com is the versatility. I like the fact that we have a 6-ingredient chili that is going to allow us a lot of versatility and give us the opportunity to really craft and adapt and change and create with this chili recipe. So we've got a lot of cool things to kick off tonight. Let's go ahead and get the pan heating up here. Make sure that is on. It is good to go. Hey, real quick, let's not forget to give a shout out to all of our Colorado ranchers and producers. We love to give them kudos and props, and also just a big thank you for allowing us to do what we do live every month for the Colorado Beef Council. We know our ranchers and producers always do such an amazing job producing beef to get into our fridges, freezers, and bellies. So we always are very appreciative of the fact that we get to work together and collaborate on some really, really fun events. So thank you for that as well. Now, some housekeeping notes for tonight. If you are looking for information, maybe you need some more recipes or ideas, concepts, or you're thinking you'd love to find some beef locator map that would help you get some Colorado beef for your fridge, freezer, belly, be sure to visit my friends at coloradobeef.com. That's cobeef.com. Head over to cobeef.com, Colorado Beef Council's website. You can find recipes, tips, advice, a lot of cool things as well. And then, hey, don't forget to share that we are right here on YouTube live every month. But if you miss us live, don't worry, you can come back and ask your questions and watch the video, share the video, and we'll always be there to answer questions for you. So we're heating our pan up here just a little bit to get things ready for chili. Now, the chili recipe we have is very, very basic chili, but not basic in flavor. What I love about this, like I said, is it's very versatile. This has 6 ingredients: ground beef, some black beans, beef broth, diced tomatoes, green chilies, and a seasoning. We have 6 different items in here, really meant to make this just easy. Lower in sodium, heart healthy, all that good stuff for you. But the cool thing is, look at this from a versatility standpoint. Lot of things that you could add to the mix, and I've got them kind of staged on the side here just so we can talk about it in a little bit. But very easy, simple ingredients to help you get things moving and allow you to enjoy it as it is or craft your own chili. I had a question the other day from one of my friends, and he said, you know, I made a chili recipe on my grill, and it calls for, you know, some chili on a smoker or a grill. And one of the things he said is, how do I remove the grease or the oil from that chili? Now, tonight's recipe calls for a 93% lean ground beef, but what happens if you buy beef from a rancher producer or you're unaware of what the fat content is? I will tell you that most beef normally ends up about 80% beef, 20% fat, so that's that 80-20 that we talk about. A couple different ways you can strain the fat off. We're doing a shallow pan today that we're cooking in, but if you're doing it in a Dutch oven or anything, you know, you can always use a spoon. That is super easy when you're cooking. You can tilt that pan to the side, scoop some of that fat off, and then put that fat wherever you want, whether it's an old can or something. Don't dump it right in the garbage can because it's obviously going to be hot, but put it somewhere where it has a chance to cool down. Or my grandma used to use a strainer. That was always her trick. She'd scoop the beef out into the strainer and drain that and then put the beef right back in the pan. So whether it's a strainer or whether it's a spoon, you always have a couple really good ideas for straining off the fat if you want a little bit leaner of a chili. So 93%, 96% is going to be pretty lean, and keep that in mind too when you're cooking, because a little bit of that fat you need, right, to help kind of get some other things going. Tonight, though, this basic recipe, we don't need a lot of fat because we have a lot of moisture, but let's say you want to alter this recipe and maybe add some onions or add some peppers. You may need just a little bit of that beef fat to add to it to help saute that off. So what I'm doing here in the pan is I put that pound of ground beef in, and now I'm kind of breaking it up into smaller pieces to help it cook just a little bit faster. And I'm just kind of trying to break it up a little bit and get that started. I'll show you what that looks like here. I've got that right like that. I'm just trying to break that beef up a little bit, as you can see in there, and slowly get that cooking. And then we'll just keep going here as we cook. And I've got the pan on about medium heat today. Nothing too hot. Have it on medium heat just to get things moving. Now, today's recipe calls for some beef broth, a lower sodium beef broth, lower sodium black beans, some diced tomatoes in juice, lower sodium again as well. And then it says you have a choice. You can do green chilies or some jalapenos. Really going to depend on how much heat you want in your chili. And then it calls for chili powder, or pick your favorite seasoning that you have, whether it's a chili seasoning or a Cajun spice or something of that. I'm actually going to use a little bit of my Bayou dust tonight for my chili. So real quick here, we'll just keep stirring this up. You can hear that sizzling away there. We're rendering off a little bit of that fat that's in here. And I like to get the beef about 3/4 of the way cooked before I start adding anything else in. I don't want to boil the beef. I want to cook it and sear it off as much as I can first before I start adding the liquids in. So make sure we get this all broken down here. All right. Keep going on that. If you want, you can also cover this up. Absolutely. I've got a lid that has a hole in it for venting, for steam, so I don't have to worry about it building up too much pressure. But you can absolutely cover it. That'll speed up the cooking, or you can leave it uncovered as well. Your house is going to smell delicious. Not a bad thing either. All right, we're getting that up and cooked here. And, 3/4 of the way cooked means we're going to have just a little bit of color in there. You'll see there's just a little bit of beef in there, a little bit of pink color in there. That is absolutely perfect. Now, we're going to go ahead and add our beans. And I went ahead and drained those, but I did not rinse them. The recipe says rinse them, but I actually didn't. I don't like to rinse off what's in there. I actually like a little bit of that to help kind of thicken up and add some viscosity. You can absolutely drain them if you want. We'll go ahead and add our diced tomatoes. And I went with a smaller diced tomato because I wanted just the bite size to be a little bit smaller. I didn't want to have huge, big chunks of tomato in there. All right, we'll get that mixed in as well. And then depending on where you are for heat, bottoms up, we're going to add a 4-ounce can of diced green chilies. Not very, very hot. These are actually mild. I went with mild intentionally just so that we didn't have anything too crazy, because I'm also making dinner for myself for later. So I didn't want it to be too hot while we're eating dinner later. All right. And now we're going to add the beef stock. So beef stock, we're going to add about 14 ounces, 15 ounces. We'll get that. And I should say beef broth. That's what I meant, beef broth. So this is a quart. So we're basically going to add about half of that quart, or about 2 cups, all right? And then the cool thing, season it to taste. We always say when you season things, you should absolutely, whatever the recipe calls for, always feel free to adjust that seasoning to what suits you the best. I always like to say season as much or as little as you like. I don't know how much seasoning you like, so I may say when I make a recipe that, you know what, it's great for a tablespoon, and it might be better when it's just a teaspoon. So always have that as well. Now, if you're just joining in, like I said earlier, big thanks to Colorado Beef Council for hosting our lives, and a big thanks to all of our Colorado ranchers and producers for taking care of those beautiful animals and raising some amazing Colorado beef for us as well. Now, we are live tonight, but if you are watching this after tonight, and we are not live, it is recorded, feel free to leave your questions and comments because we always like to come back and have fun and chit-chat and answer your questions for you and engage with you as well. So if you're seeing this after we're live, please leave your questions, leave your comments, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. And then don't forget to tell your friends. It's time to follow Colorado Beef Council on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And then head over to cobeef.com. That's the Colorado Beef Council website. You'll find a ton of information there. And the beef locator map, too, so you can find Colorado beef for your fridge, freezer, belly. Now, we have the chili going. We added all of our ingredients, so with the exception of the seasoning. And I'm going to bring this to a simmer. And I'm going to slowly simmer that chili down. Now, if you notice, we added diced tomatoes. We didn't add sauce. Absolutely, you could substitute a sauce if you wanted to. I'm going to talk to you about a few substitutions here. Now, I'm going to start off with about a tablespoon of seasoning in here. Oh, yeah, about a tablespoon. I think we're good. Right about a tablespoon. And we'll just kind of mix this in and let it bloom. We want that seasoning to come alive. We want all those the herbs to bloom. We want the rub to kind of melt into that chili and do its thing. So we'll keep an eye on that. A little chef's tip for you. If I have a spoon in here, I have a wooden spoon or a metal spoon, I like to put the handle above the handle on the pan because then the heat goes up and around it and doesn't get my handle hot. Now, garnish today. Let's not talk garnish. Let's talk substitutions quick. Now, this is pretty easy. It called for black beans. It called for tomatoes. It called for green chilies. You could absolutely use diced jalapenos if you want, but check it out. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy around beans and chili. Do you want beans or not want beans? I will leave that up to you to argue about at Thanksgiving, but if you don't like beans, take them out. If you like beans, add the black beans, or you could easily substitute pintos or a little bit of each, depending how heavy you want. Now, I use regular diced tomatoes, but look at that. You could absolutely use some fire-roasted diced tomatoes, just giving a little bit more flavor to that as well. But let's say you think, I don't want a brothy chili. I would rather have it thick and saucy. Guess what? Tomato sauce, great substitution. And I would substitute it 1 for 1. So whatever amount of diced tomatoes you're using, substitute fire-roasted instead or substitute sauce instead, just to give you a different texture on your chili. Now, let's say you don't like beans. You could also go with hominy, and I've got a golden and a white hominy for you as well. Hominy is amazing in chili. And the nice thing about this, too, is it really absorbs a lot of your flavors of that chili and just kind of pulls them all into the hominy, so that is great. Now, if you're thinking, I want to do a little bit different spin on my chili, you could also use some enchilada sauce. That works out great. That actually tastes fantastic when it comes to a sauce in your chili. So a lot of substitutions here. And then here's what I went with as well. Here's some diced jalapenos. Those are hot. So if you want a hot chili, definitely go with the diced jalapenos versus the diced green chilies. Or if you want that cool, like smolder, this is perfect right here. Some chipotle in adobo sauce, so kind of a smoked jalapeno in a nice, smoky, rich, kind of chocolatey adobo sauce if you like that. So a lot of cool variations in here. I wanted to show you one thing that I like to do as well. Let's say you want to add a little bit stronger, a little bit better depth of flavor. I love putting corn chips into the chili and letting them just melt so they kind of melt into the chili. It's going to thicken that chili up a little bit and give it a little bit more texture. It's also going to give it a fantastic flavor as well. Those corn chips really do a nice job. You could also melt in here, dice up or julienne up some corn tortillas and just let those kind of melt in and do their thing as well, but those work out great. Then when it comes to chili toppings, you can't get better than corn chips and a little bit of shredded cheese. Great chili toppings as well. So when you're done making the chili, you also have to think about how you're going to top it and serve it. And if you're doing a tailgate party or just having family dinner, I love to put the pot of chili out and then maybe some mugs. It's great putting your chili in a mug, topping it with your sour cream, your cheese, your corn chips, and then maybe sitting on the couch watching a little TV or watching a little football or on the weekends as well. But as you cook this chili, start to pay attention to how much of that liquid is reducing down. I want to cook it down enough until it's about where I like it, right? Where it's not too thin or it's not too thick. So just pay attention as you're cooking and you'll slowly start to reduce that down. Should be in a good place. like I said, this is going to be a little bit thinner of a chili because we did use that beef broth. But let's give it a test here and see. I always love to give it a test. I like to put a little bit of seasoning in there. Let that seasoning bloom and let it kind of get its flavors going. Then taste it after it's cooked for a little bit. Man, I'll tell you what, that is right on the money. I'm happy with that perfectly. Yeah, I am. You know why? I'm happy with that. I did about a tablespoon of the seasoning, and I like that because it's not overpowering. So I can taste the acid from the tomatoes in there. I can taste the rich iron in the beef. Came out really, really nice. That is definitely an easy seasoning to put in there. So it calls for chili powder, but you could definitely take some cumin. You could do a taco seasoning in there. You could do a chili spice. Whatever you have that you like would work out great. Now, think about maybe taking this on a barbecue twist as well. You could use barbecue sauce in here, maybe a barbecue rub if you wanted it a little bit sweeter. And then also look at how to repurpose things. You know, we are always huge fans of that cook once, eat twice. And I think what's great about chili is, yes, I'm using fresh ground beef today. I could, let's say I had people over to my house for dinner and I made way too many hamburgers and I have leftover burgers. I will chop the burgers up and use that as a base to maybe make some barbecue chili. You could also use leftover brisket. You could use ground up or shredded chuck. If you have some cooked chuck, you could shred that and add some chuck in there as well. Think of the beef as really anything, whether you want to go fresh or you want to utilize something that was a leftover, so you can do that cook once, eat twice. Always, always perfect. My friend said the other day when we were talking about chili, he said, you know, I'm still trying to find a time where I have leftover brisket to make brisket chili. And I said, what, you don't have leftover brisket? He's like, never have leftover brisket. So you may be in that same place as well, not having any brisket to do if you have leftovers. But again, you could use any beef in here you wanted. That's the nice thing about this. So I use that ground beef today, but absolutely would work fantastic with everything else. You could dice up some flank steak if you wanted to. Skirt steak might be just a little bit too stringy if you're going to use that, but again, works out great. So very easy recipe. We put the link in the description section so you can grab today's recipe. This is from our friends at beefiswhatsfordinner.com. And this is their basic beef chili. And like I said, very easily adapted and changed and altered and tweaked and adjusted to make it your chili. And that's, I think, the most important thing. Yes, chefs love to create recipes and we love to kind of create those flavor profiles. But look at this recipe as, hey, I'm going to try it this way once and see how I like it. And then if I try it and I don't like it, I go, now what would I like to do differently? You could absolutely alter it because that's the beauty of this. Change it and it becomes your recipe. So how is that for quick and easy? It is chili season here in Colorado. We kicked it off good today with a nice ice cold day. We have a beautiful chili. The kitchen studio smells absolutely amazing. I have dinner made and life is good. I just have to figure out how big of a mug I'm going to fill and go from there. So I'm Chef Jason Morse for my friends at the Colorado Beef Council. As always, big thanks to the Colorado Beef Council for hosting us and supporting all of our live events. And big thanks to you for watching as well. And then a big kudos and thank you to our Colorado ranchers and producers for all the work that they do. And keep in mind, it's now getting into cold season in those fall months and winter months. And those ranchers and producers of ours are going to be hard at work all year long. So when you are tucked in at home and keeping nice and warm, you know that there's farmers and ranchers out there on the range and in their ranches and in their fields doing what they need to do. And we appreciate that very much. Like we say, you can head over to cobeef.com. cobeef.com, that's the Colorado Beef Council website. We have everything you need on there from tips and advice and recipes, all those great things. And then the Colorado Beef Locator map, so you can find Colorado beef for your fridge, freezer, and belly. All right, it is October. It is chili season. And coming up in November, we are going to kick this off with some holiday dishes. That's right. Fall is here. We did chili. Holiday season's coming up next, and we're going to have some fun appetizer recipes to get you in the mood for holiday entertaining, whether you're taking it on the road or having people come over to your house. So once again, I'm Chef Jason Morris, my friends at the Colorado Beef Council. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We hope you had fun, and it is definitely chili time here in Colorado.